Kakamega Governor Wycliffe Oparanya is the new chairman of the Council of Governors. The ODM deputy party leader floored 4 other governors to be elected for a 1-year term, while Murang'a Governor Raila was elected as his deputy. However, Kwale Governor Salim Vuria appears to be the biggest loser in the election, given that at the height of political differences between Jubilee and NASA in 2017, he had been promised the position, having ditched ODM party, joined Jubilee party and re-elected a governor in an area received as an opposition stronghold zone. The Council of Governors has resolved to agitate for more funds and actively participate in the referendum to protect devolution. Now, this is a discussion you're also having here in our studio with the governance expert, Kevin Osido, just to try and understand the political intrigues that played out yesterday during the election of the Council of Governors, where we saw Wycliffe Oparanya, governor of Kakamega County, being elected as the chair, and Mwangi Wairia of Murang'a County being elected as his vice chair. Now, Osido, we are talking about the aggressiveness and the combativeness of Wycliffe Oparanya. Does he have it? Because we've seen the Council of Chairs, the chairman, that is, talk about Nanok, who is the governor of Turkana County, and of course Isaac Ruto, the former Bomet governor. They are very combative and aggressive, and even at times you saw them, attack the government, question the government's support for devolution. Are we likely to see this with Wycliffe Oparanya?
That's a very good question. And it's because when devolution started, we needed someone who was as abrasive and combative, to use your words, to be able to spur the benefits of devolution and also to be able to put in place the legislations and the supportive mechanisms that then devolution required when it was put in place in 2013. Then we moved on to when the governor for Turkana was elected, and you note that during that time there were lots of discoveries that were taking place in this country, discoveries of oil and gas, discoveries of basically trying to bring in investment, bring out investment opportunities for various counties. And Brenda, you note that at that point, many counties even held what were then called, or even today, investment conferences. And you remember that many counties even gave out pieces of land to investors, hosting investors here and there. And all this needed someone who would then be able to see exactly what that meant and to be able to share the story. And sometimes for us who are within that space, we like saying that the Turkana governor is a gentleman who was able to present that opportunity. Now, the kind of political terrain and environment that we are moving in right now is one that may not require those kind of skills. We are moving into a framework of government, or an architecture of government, where what would be required is knowledge of the issues, ability to convene or convening power, ability to present recommendations and proposals, ability to whip governors, and also ability to be able to stand above the political terrains. And you also realize that the governor for Kakamega has also come out to be able to share his interests in being the head of state of this country in 2022. So people, other than clamoring for opportunities and positions and being seen to be able to be the person to be, governors are interested in how do we move beyond the handshake. How do we present the handshake as an opportunity that devolution can be able to take advantage of? Who is this gentleman or the lady who now is a gentleman who is going to be able to bring together the president and also his co-principal in the handshake to be able to bring the country together? Because you note that when the MOU, the memorandum, was signed between the head of state and also the former prime minister, that is the handshake, which is called the Building Bridges to Unity initiative. There were 9 key items, and one of those items is indeed devolution. The other issue that they spoke about was ability to unite this country, and many of them have been speaking about unity. So for someone who is going to be able to drive Kenyans together and to bring them together, you don't want to bring in someone who is going to be as combative, someone who may scare whichever side of the political terrain, of the political divide.
And
the other issue, The other issue, Brenda, is service delivery. Kenyans are interested in devolution working for them. And so they're also looking for someone who is approachable, someone who will give them an opportunity at the Council of Governors. And having engaged with the Council since the first devolution conference and knowing a little bit of what happens at the Council, people want someone who will be able to provide humility within the service delivery at the Council, so that if you have a chief executive officer who is as a technocrat who knows what she is doing, like Jackie Mugeni, with a team of qualified personnel, then you also need someone who will be able to cross-cut between the politics and the techniques and indeed the expertise that is required to guarantee service delivery. And I'm sure that Governor Oparanya, indeed even having asked him to host the first youth conference during the devolution conference in Kakamega, and having agreed to do that and having engaged with him at that point, I am sure that is someone who is humble enough even to listen to the least in the community. And I think that is what most citizens are also looking at.
But as we speak right now, Sido, Oparanya comes into office, or rather takes the seat, at a time when all eyes are on CRA, and even before this election was held, when Nanok was still the chair of the CoG, that is the Council of Governors, there was talks to, urge CRA, that is Commission on Revenue Authority, revenue allocation, just to suspend the allocation of revenue to counties until our census is conducted in August. So what are we likely to see Oparanya do? Because a lot is at stake when he's coming into office when it comes to resources to the county funds and ensuring that the government fully supports devolution.
I agree with you in total. In fact, that is exactly what we are addressing here. A gentleman who is able to bring in the different interests, the different dynamics and different perspectives of our country. And you rightfully mentioned the CRA formula. And initially we used to have the formula which had 9 parameters. And among the key contentious issues, you note that the leadership of ASAL counties has also come up to be able to trash this formula through what is called the Frontier Counties Development Council, which is chaired by the governor from Mandera. And they have said that this formula is not the best for us. But that is exactly why you need someone like Mheshimiwa Oparanya, so that he's able to not only provide direction, but also guidance. And now, what this means, therefore, is something which I think we haven't invested in as a country in almost all sectors, including the private sector, on what is called the public-private partnerships, the 3 Ps, what is called consultation and collaborative engagements. Because I think that even constitutional commissions like the CRA need to be able to embrace a consultative platform, so that they're able to bring in different stakeholders to a discussion table, so that a decision that is made is a decision that is also not only acceptable to everyone, but is able to be futuristic. So that then when we're talking about a formula today, and you note that one of the issues that the ASAL leadership has been talking about is population. Because indeed population was one of the indicators, one of the parameters that CRA used at that point. But today, since November last year, we've been talking about 3 core issues. And one of them is indeed service delivery. Most counties have not showed, because from the CRA formula, service delivery is almost going to take the biggest chunk in this formula, which is going to be 69%. Most counties have not come out to be able to show exactly what service delivery is. And so most citizens are also asking themselves, are the resources that are going down to the counties working for us? Is devolution working for us? Are our voices counting in the decision-making processes? Are we able to account for the resources? The second issue is, of course, what we are calling development. And this is one of the key areas that I think we also need to invest time in, so that we ask ourselves, for the past almost 8 years that we've had devolution, what kind of development have we seen taking place in various parts of the countries that were, of course, seen to be either marginalized or overdeveloped? And you note that this is also a discussion that has also brought in the narrative of His Excellency the President. And the other day he was calling some people Hawa Washensi, to quote his words. It is because people are interested in development. And CRA says that development is going to take almost 26% in their formula. Now, the challenge with this, Brenda, is that the most developed areas are the ones that are going to benefit more. Because if you're going to talk about development in the perspective of how much resources have been given to an area, then there are various areas that are going to be left out. And the last issue that we are talking about is efficiency. So are we efficient in our service delivery? Are we efficient in our management? Are we efficient in our implementation? And I think that this is part of these are some of the things that Mheshimiwa Oparanya needs to present. And I hope that Mheshimiwa Nanok is going to be, in his handing over notes, present the CRA formula indeed as part of what needs to be at the top table. And even as we move on to the devolution conference, I am sure that this is one of the key issues that is going to be discussed, because in other platforms, like in the economic blocks, it's been brought forward. I was in Malindi during the inaugural ASAL conference. It was brought forward, and the discussions that were put forward, I think, are some of the follow-up points that Mheshimiwa Oparanya needs to take over.
Okay, and talking about the devolution conference, which of course yesterday Anwe Guru hinted that it might happen in Kirinyaga County. When you look at the leadership of the Council of Governors after the elections were conducted yesterday, it looks like it's an all-male dominated leadership, 2/3 gender rule not there. Because when I look at that list, I can only see there is Joyce Laboso, who's been given the docket of education, and I mean, lots of questions will be asked. Why not even at least have the 3 female governors? You know, there is Charity Ngilo, there is Anwe Guru. All of them take different dockets.
Quite interesting, and I again agree with you. That's one of the areas that the governors did not do very well. And you note that this is also a prevailing discussion that is taking place in this country, not just at the Council of Governors, but the discussion around the affirmative action and the 2/3 gender rule. And one of the things that I think probably I can talk about here is that the female gender need to be as representative as they are in private, so needs to also be in public. Because I think one of the things that that this debate has faced, even as it is coming forward again in February as Parliament comes forth, and probably it might never see light of day, is for us to reorganize ourselves and ask the question, where have we gone wrong? Because you know that when this kind of marginalization takes place even at the highest levels of leadership, like in the executive, and indeed even at the executive level of the Council of Governors, then the question that we ask ourselves is what does the future hold? So it's of course a question of the boy child and the girl child, where we sometimes think that as we extrapolate the narrative around strengthening and mainstreaming the girl child, then the boy child is getting marginalized. Yes, that is happening, but then the question needs to be, how are we organizing and expanding these opportunities? And I think that it needs to be something that we talk about on a daily basis, so that in our practice, as so it is in our theory through the various frameworks that we have, we need to entrench and mainstream the affirmative action issues, so that then when elections take place, like we have seen in the Council of Governors, this kind of discussion around why are the women left out, I don't think is something that we should be having. But yet we are having it because even our tradition and our orientation has been patrimonial. So we want to be able to expand opportunities for one gender as we overlook opportunities for those gender. But I think, as you rightfully asked the question, we need to keep asking this question on our daily engagements, on a daily basis, and to be able to expand opportunities for either gender to be able to be seen to be progressing. All
right, thank you so much, Kevin Osido. It was a pleasure talking to you on KTN News Center. He's a governance expert, and they just tried, breaking it down to us what we expect from the leadership of Kakamega Governor Wycliffe Ambetsa Oparanya as he takes over the helm of the Council of Governors as the chairperson, deputized by Muranga County Governor Mwangi Wairia. Now, some people would say education is life. Lydia Manyanzi is not one of them. The mother of 3 believes education is satanic, and that the online admission system, NEMIS, is the core believers were warned about in the Bible. Reporter Caroline B reports on that story, which has also led to Lydia's children denouncing